mi tierra and I see my picture on the wall, le doy un besito.
Do you ever want to update the photo when you're there? Or?
Of course, are you kidding? Look at me. I look like Grandpa now.
I gotta say, I
like
really...
El Pachuco, but El Pachuco's grandfather.
I am eternally envious of the mustache because I can't grow that and pull that off at all, and I think...
You can, you just have to believe in it. Allow it to grow, man, it'll work.
You see what I got right now, and that's
But
about all.
believe me, I'm telling you, you just let it grow, just let it be,
right.
You'll see what happens.
Just look in the mirror and think of Edward James Olmos when I'm...
Just be cool.
All right.
Cool.
Well,
stand and deliver, guys. I should be hearing something from that.
So,
you guys are too calm here.
Well, let's hype them up. You ready to take some questions from the audience?
That's why I came.
So let's either side of the aisle there.
Except for this guy with the pink.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear from him at all, man. Look at him.
That's a lot of courage to come like that.
I love it. Are you kidding? You should see me yesterday.
Was you in the pink catsuit?
I was wearing pink tights.
All right, let's start over here.
Hi, Mr. Olmos. I'm a really big fan of your work, but I'm also a really big fan of your social activism work. I wanted to ask you a question. What would you tell the young Hispanics in this generation today?
I would tell them with all my heart, with all my passion, to register and vote. Anyone that has any idea of what it is to be Latino in this country should be registered when they can. And if you're too young to register, then you make sure that everybody in your neighborhood and your parents and everybody in your family that is able to is registered, and they should vote. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't. All I want is for us to be known as the culture that is registered the most and that votes the most, and everything will change. Trust me.
I'm a big fan as well. I was going to ask you what's calculus, but I thought I might ask something.
Calculus.
I wanted to know, did you know when you were making movies like American Me, Stand and Deliver, Mi Familia, did you know that they would have such a cultural significance? Did you know when you were making them that they would be as big as they are?
Yes, I did. I knew exactly what we were doing. The only one that caught me by surprise was Zoot Suit, the play. And it caught me by surprise because I didn't see that it was coming. And then I got into it, and when I was given the opportunity to play the role of El Pachuco, I got to tell you right now, I literally wept. I went up against the wall of my house. It was a Friday night at 7:30 in the evening. They were going to start rehearsals on Monday at 7:30 in the evening. I said, it's over. I didn't get it. And I didn't get that role. I don't know who got it, but I'm going to go to the theater and see who got it. And they called me, and I was on, and then they asked me, would you like to play the role of El Pachuco? And I said, yes, I would love to. It would be my honor. Okay, be here on Monday morning, 8 o'clock, and at the Mark Taper Forum Annex. And I said, okay, I'll be there. Thank you very much. I hung up the phone. My back went against the wall, and I slid down in heaving sobs. I could not believe that the time had come, because I knew from the beginning that was the most original piece of work I'd ever read. I've been doing theater since 1964. This was 1978. I had been singing rock and roll since 1960, and I'm a bad singer. I sing as good as Bob Dylan. I don't write as good as him. But man, I can sing. No. But I gotta tell you, so I was constantly working in theater and in music. And by 1978, man, I could sing and dance. And when I walked in there, I just went ahead and I put all my talents, all my years of preparation on there. And I was born and raised in East LA, so I knew very well Los Pachucos, Islos. And so it was really easy for me to create that character, and I created that character from the get-go. Luis Valdez wrote it, and I created the character around that, what he gave me the opportunity to understand. And the world changed for all of us that day. It's when we finally had a piece of our culture, our art form, on the main stages of theater in this country. It was the first time ever. It was amazing. And so that changed my life, and it changed the life of everybody that is Latino in this country.
Would you say that your heart lies in theater because of that break, because of that opportunity you got?
No, I'm a storyteller, so I'll do it in theater, I'll do it in television, I'll do it in film. You know, I do it here. I'm right here in front of you, telling you stories right now, and everybody goes, ah, my God. And that's what we are. I'm a storyteller, so I'm very proud of who I am. I'll never forget the day that I walked in. It was about 1972, and I walked into a casting agent. And the casting agent was casting out of MGM, top casting agent for all of MGM. And I walk in, and he's talking to me, and I was very young. And he says, what's your name? I say, Eddie James Olmos. He says, Olmos? I said, yeah, Olmos. He goes, no, man, you can't use that name. I don't know what's, use Star, Eddie Star, Eddie, use another name. I said, oh my God, you're absolutely right. And I stood up, and I was so angry inside. I stood up and I said, you're absolutely right. And I looked at him and I said, you're right. Oh, I can see it now. I should use, you're right, Edward James Olmos. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I walked out the door, the guy thought I'd flipped out. Literally, I'm not kidding you. He got scared because I went into this, you know how you get so angry at people's inability to understand, the simple things of, just people's who they are. Yeah, that's my name. I'm going to use my name, excuse me, and I knew what he meant. Because I knew Martin Sheen, I knew all these people who had changed their names, to help them be able to use the art form without being tagged. I said, no, man, I'm sorry, man, I am an Olmos, and I'm proud of it. And I walked out the door. Well, from that day to today, you'll always see my name. On the marquee, I don't care what poster, and Edward James Olmos. The whole damn thing is up.
What's your favorite Selena song?
What's my favorite Selena song? Oh my God. You know what? I like the entire, her career. Beady Beady Bang Bang. I mean, you can go forever, man. Come on. I cry. I'm crying right now. I can feel the tears in my eyes. I miss her. We all miss her. It's been 20 years this last March that they killed her. And I'm sorry, but man, that's really robbed us. Jenny Rivera was robbed from us also. But man, I'll tell you, she wasn't quite, she was at least 41. Selena was 23. I can tell you that to me, she would have been the most electric and the best artist we would have had ever in singing and dancing, performing our music, ever. And she was taken from us too early, to this day. And that was the hardest film I've ever made. I told some of the people, I don't know if anybody was here that I was talking to when I was at my desk. I do sitting over here signing and stuff, and I was, I talked to everybody. How many of you have been over to the desk, the table? All right, you know what happens, right? You come up and I start talking, and pretty soon you start talking, and pretty soon we're sitting there. We're either laughing or we're crying or we're emotional, or, and I write, War and Peace on on pictures, you know, and my calligraphy is just like people go, wow, you really can write. Wow, you're beautiful writing. So I say to you, man, that movie, Selena, the hardest movie I've ever made in my life. Do you know why? Because we started filming it about 13 months after she was killed. And nobody wanted to make it. We didn't want to be making that movie, not with that ending. None of us wanted to make that movie, but we had to because there was 5 movies that were being geared up to be made by other people. And there was like 8 books, and there was all kinds of documentaries, and they were just starting to really get into it. And so the family said, we got to put out a film. They didn't want to. Nobody of the family came to any one of the filmings of any one of the scenes during the entire piece, except for once the mother came when we were at the Astrodome, and we were there, you know, filming the part when she's singing. And but her father came to every single second of the movie. He was there, and I was playing him. So I had been with him for almost a year since the accident, the whole thing happened. And I was studying him and being with him, and it was amazingly difficult, you know, because he was constantly completely in disarray. And so, you know how good the movie was. You know, it really put you inside of their life, you know, when they were children and going back to Los Dinos, and then, you know, all the things of playing the drums and me falling backwards, and you know, all the kids, you know, constantly laughing and having fun, and, you know, the washing machine and all the stuff, and, you know, all wonderful moments, you know, just classic beautiful moments that just tickled your heart. Well, we would finish filming that sequence or that scene 10, 12 times, whatever it took. After every single time we stopped and the cut came, I would turn and I would look, and there would be Abraham, you know, the distance away, and his back towards us in heaving sobs. And you see his whole body contracting in pain. And I said, oh my God. And it became, we shot the scene in the hospital one time. Put the cameras there, we walked in, he didn't even want us to shoot that scene. He says, I said, Abraham, let us shoot this last moment. It's very important to the telling of the story. He says, oh man, and he walked out, he couldn't take it. And then we got in there, we were all very aware of what we were doing and how difficult this was. And we walked in there and we shot that scene, and one take, and, you know, 3 cameras, and we all took, you know, we all started, boom, when we went there. All of us went there, and it was ugly. It was ugly going there. And we were just acting. I couldn't even imagine if that was my daughter, you know. So, Selena was the hardest movie we've ever made in my life. And I gotta tell you, thank you for making it such a successful film for that family, for all of us. It's become like a cornerstone. It made Jennifer Lopez's career. I think it's the best performance she's ever given in her life. And she hasn't really quoted me yet, but one day she will. You know, she may be like 80, and she's looking back at her life saying, you know, the movie I made, Selena, is the best movie I ever made. Vas a ver, van a ver. I predict it.
All right, over here. Well, with science fiction and fantasy fans being as passionate as they are, when you started Battlestar Galactica, did you anticipate the response that would generate? And do you think it's kind of had an influence on future projects, things that you might act or direct?
Yeah, to everything. You're absolutely 1,000% correct. And yes, I felt it the day that I read the script. I mean, I wasn't going to do Battlestar Galactica. I was walking around with the Ballad of Gregorio Cortez. I was here. I showed it here for free. I showed it all over the country for free, carrying the canisters. of the movie. I was carrying it myself. I would go around showing this movie, and you know, this is not a movie that goes along. Battlestar does not go along with that kind of situation with, you know, the Ballad of Gregorio Cortez and with Selena and with all these movies that I make. Battlestar Galactica. People with 4 eyes and 3 lips and I said, I don't think I can go there, man. I'm sorry. They had asked me to do Star Trek.
Star Trek Next Generation.
They had asked me to do Star Trek, and I said, geez, I'm working, sorry. No, but this is, you're going to take over Kirk's position. But before they got Picard and everybody, you know.
Patrick Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart. They had asked me to be part of that, and I said, you know, I appreciate the genre. I did Blade Runner. Give me a break. So I appreciate it, but I really have only a certain amount of time in my lifetime. So I pick my things that I do, and I was, you know, I gotta tell you, it was amazingly difficult. You know, my friends, my agents, people said, you're crazy. What are you doing? I mean, this is a career changer. I said, yes, it is. But I gotta tell you right now, I'd rather do Mi Familia, or I'd rather do American Family for PBS. That I turned down being a regular on West Wing so that I could do American Family. You know, I said to them, I said, I really appreciate it. I love being Judge Mendoza, and I think that his Supreme Court Justice, the first one, Latino, that represents us in a very high way, and this is a great product. You guys are making a great piece of work, but I said, you guys have so many stars and so many people in it already. American Family, it won't be made unless I go over there and I make it with these people. And so I went over there and I made it at PBS. I mean, some of you guys might have saw it. You know, it was a brilliant piece of work. If you haven't seen American Family, do yourself, if you can get it, you can't even get the second season. You know why?
Why is that?
Because the government of the United States of America pulled the plug on us, and they made PBS stop making that program, because we put the Iraq War in our storyline, and they told us to pull it out, and we said we wouldn't. And he says, okay, then we're going to not fund you. And they cut our funding, and they stopped us from making any more. We won the Emmy nomination for the best series of that year, and with all that, they pulled the plug on us. And the people can't. You try to go find the second year of American Family. How many of you saw it? Look around you, there's like 4, 5 people saw that. If you guys saw that program, you would be in shock. First, you're gonna laugh like crazy, but second, you're gonna feel the pain of what it was like to lose our children in that war. And I gotta tell you, man, it was right after 9/11, man. It was right during the midst of it. The war started the week we opened our show. And we used footage from the bombing of Iraq. That started our movie.
Shock and awe.
Oh, everything. It was the first war ever put on television at the exact same time the war was happening. You know, Vietnam War, the Second World War, Korean War, they were all after. You know, we made movies about them after. But we were making a movie about what was going on right now. And boy, they got pissed off. How did they get mad at the Mexicans for that one?
Do you feel like that you maybe won it over in a more popular sense with Battlestar Galactica, because it was pretty allegorical to the war on terror? I mean, it's not obviously not the same scope as something like that, but it was pretty well informed by what was going on. Do you think that?
Battlestar Galactica, for those of you that haven't seen it, there are many in this room that haven't seen it because it wasn't really picked up and really used and understood by the Latino community. I was very surprised when I got here and I sat down there and people started to come up they started to thank me for Battlestar. I said, wow, you ever seen it? Because I've been walking this country now for like 12 years since we started Battlestar in 2003. And I have very few Latinos that come up to me and thank me for that program. But Battlestar Galactica is the best usage of television that has ever been used in the history of this country. Bar none. There's a reason they asked me to go speak at the UN. There's a reason they asked me to go there and speak to the entire planet. I mean, they've never asked, you know, West Wing to go, or PD Blue, or Star Trek, or any of the television programs to go speak to the entire planet at the UN? Never. What are you going to do? Pop television? Informing the planet? Sorry, but we have more important things to do than to listen to the actors of a television show come and tell us anything. So what happens? They invite Battlestar Galactica. And I sit there, and the first thing I did is I reamed them. Boom! The entire planet. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. Google, or you know, go on YouTube and put Edward James Olmos at the United Nations. And you see what who's seen it? If you've seen what I said on it, now there's 7 of us in this audience that have seen it. That means you're all gonna get your minds blown. I'll give you a little teaser. Are you ready? I get up there and they're talking. What they did is they would show 5 minutes of our program, 5 to 7 minutes of our program. And then the person who was dealing with that situation in the UN, the executive director, would speak for 20 minutes about how the UN deals with the issues that we were dealing with in the program. Okay, the very first one to speak was on reconciliation. How important is reconciling with your enemy in this world today? What if we could get the Jews and the Palestinians to relate and stop fighting? What if we could get ISIS and the world to stop fighting? You know, stop chopping off heads. You know, doing all this terrorism that's going on the planet. What if we could make people? So we're sitting there. They showed how the Cylons and the human beings had to reconcile. Now the Cylons had wiped out all humanity. You don't know the story, but the story is that we created technology that comes back to kill us, humanity, and they killed us. They wiped us out. They nuked the entire planet. It was over, except for the ones that were in spaceships. And there was like 52 spaceships. And there was 49,000 people that were saved. All the billions and billions and billions and billions of human beings were dead. So we had to reconcile with them in order for humanity to go on. So that being said, the guy, the executive director, sits down, and it's myself and Mary McDonald and the producers, and Whoopi Goldberg was the moderator. And so we're sitting there, and the place is jam-packed. The UN, there was media from around the world, and the UN was completely sold out, and it was just jam-packed. Everybody was there. Every seat was taken. So this guy talks about reconciliation and you know, the different races that were represented. When he got done talking, I said, we've been sitting here listening to one of the great human beings on the planet, a person that every day his work is to do nothing more than to try to bring reconciliation between people that are at war with one another. That's all he does here for all of us, the entire planet. That's what he does. And he just finished using the word race as a cultural determinant, meaning that there is a white race, a brown race, a black race, a yellow race, an indigenous race. And I looked at him and I said, you're wrong. There's only one race, and that's the human race, period. And of course, the people did what you just did and got the feeling that you just got, and the entire planet went, what? So, yeah, you are wrong if you use the word race as a cultural determinant. There's only one race, the human race. And inside that human race, there are incredible cultures. There are African cultures, there are Caucasian cultures, there are Latino cultures, there are, indigenous cultures, but there's only one race. And I said it with as much as I'm giving it to you right now, and worse. I mean, I nailed her actually. I nailed her, man. You should see it. And at the end, you know what I did? I said, there's only one race, and that's a human race. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all. And the place went ballistic. You should see it. It's on YouTube.
And really, any of you that haven't seen Battlestar Galactica, I mean, I don't know why you're here. First.
Yeah, maybe it's because I did Selena.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Battlestar Galactica, I mean, it is an amazing piece of television and something completely that the culture needed at the time.
Today it needs it.
I mean, yeah.
Today.
Still, but I mean, of the time, it was you immediately hear the words Battlestar Galactica before the series was out. You think, I mean, 1980s, 70s cheese.
Yeah.
But
70, 78.
Yeah, okay.
It lasted 1 year.
And then you see this program and just the cultural significance that it had. I don't think anyone expected it personally, and it became a commentary veiled. I think science fiction tends to do that well as a kind of a veiled commentary on current events that wouldn't, like you said, with American Family, that wouldn't get shut down because it's too on the nose.
Exactly.
But you could say a whole lot more in sci-fi.
We got away with everything. We got away with right to choose, right to life.
Yeah.
You people that are right to choose, right to life, guys that are fighting each other, watch that program. Good luck. You'll come out of the spinning. Your brain will be, whoa, did they really say that? Religion. Woo, man. Get ready. Terrorism.
Oh.
Yeah.
Waterboarding. I'm not kidding you, man. Suicide bombing.
Yep.
I mean, we made people understand why suicide bombers exist. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to be able to understand why people commit suicide and take out innocent people who don't have anything to do with anything for the cause that they believe in? Get ready, man. You're gonna get your minds blown. I'd say other words, but they're little children.
I believe it's on Netflix. I mean,
Well, it was. They pulled it down.
go find it. Go find
Go
Battlestar.
find it. There's a lot of people that have it, all right?
All right. Let's go ahead and move on.
Go ahead.
Next gentleman here.
Alright, man, that was deep. I don't know if I want to ask my question anymore.
Make up another one. That's it. Be inventive.
I've always been a big fan of you, Stand and Deliver, American Me, Selena. But once I heard you got to star in one of my favorite shows, Dexter, I was pretty excited.
Dexter.
How was
There's always one in the audience. Pinche Dexter, man. Ese cuate está loco.
How was that experience?
Man, it was crazy. I'm not kidding you, man. Walking around that set was like, you think, because you're on a, set. Oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, come on. I walk on and go, hey, man, these guys are serious. There was no laughter, no banter, no, hey, Mikey, how are you? How you doing, Mike? Come on, man, Michael, see you. Come on. Hey, Mike. That vato would walk in and, man, he was nuts. He was Dexter. The moment he got out of his trailer, the way he walked around the yard, the vato was Dexter. It's all cool and everything, but watch the movie, watch the series, and tell me that you'd like to walk around that guy. Hi, Dexter. Especially if you know. The people who are watching the show know what Dexter's like. So you go, ooh, man. Wraps them up in cellophane and then chops them into little pieces and tells them, you've been naughty. You see this? There goes your eyeball. Oh, did it hurt? Oh. Okay, I'll start with your feet. Oh, how you doing? Tacos. I said, this guy is nuts. And then they get me in there and I'm killing women. I just killed young girls and I said, the only reason they had to explain to me, I said, no, I can't do your show. I'm sorry, I wish I could. I can't do your show. But wait, we need your help. I said, we need somebody that people will really believe and really get there. Just like they did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We need somebody that could be heavy enough to go up against Coulson, and really they gotta believe you that you are who you say you are. So they get me there, right? And same with Dexter. I get there, but how did they get me there? Because, man, it's a big spoiler, I was never there. My character had been dead for 4 years. I was in the fucking refrigerator. I wasn't even there. So, how did I like Dexter? I wasn't there.
All right. Over here.
The only way I could have made that weird.
Hello, Mr. Olmos. First, I'd like to begin by saying mucho amor respeto for your career and your personal things that you've done for the Latino community. And my question for you, it's a little more lighthearted. What made you decide to want to be a part of Comic Con, and what's your favorite part?
Favorite part is you guys. I always thought I really had a really awkward, and I have what most people who have never come to a Comic-Con, their feelings after being ridiculed by, people in movies and stuff. They always ridicule, the Comic-Cons and, how crazy, wacko all these geeks are, and they dress up in different costumes and they paint their face. They look so weird, and oh my God, they dress up like Superman, and I felt trapped, and I said, I'm fine, man. You guys go ahead. I'm working over here. Thank you. Conventions, yeah, go for it. Then I went to one. And it was a love fest. From the beginning, the moment the very first person came up to me to today, and today more than ever, Alamo Comic Con is the most unbelievably passionate, and I have cried more. I've been emotionally moved more. I have been, the accolade, the kindness, the way people give of themselves when they walk up. That's a company you don't walk up and I say, okay, name, next, name. You go to some of these guys that are signing here, and you go to some of these conventions, and they scribble. And somebody taking the picture, and you just walk up and thank you. I can't do that, man, because, man, it is so beautiful what happens at conventions. It's beautiful. For me, it's like, why do you think I sat there from 10 until 8 without taking even a lunch break yesterday? I would eat my sandwiches. I was sitting there. What did you think? Great. No. Wait a minute. Don't take the picture yet. I don't even leave that at the room to eat, man. And it's all because of you guys. You guys are great. You have one of the finest conventions in the world right here in Alamo.
You, sir?
Another Battlestar Galactica one. Whenever you were kind of forced to make the destroyed Earth ending of Battlestar Galactica because of the current conditions, if you were forced to end the series there, but then conditions got better within a year or two, do you think you would have pushed really hard to start it up again and give it the ending it deserved?
I like the ending, first of all. I personally do. But I also feel that the writers were so, you know, nervous. They had built something that had taken off, and it was so much more than any one single person could have imagined. If you haven't seen the show, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But it grew because something really weird happened. 2003, we didn't have Facebook, Twitter. We didn't have social media. We had, what came out during that period of time was blogging, where you would blog something and then somebody would comment on that blog. And sometimes, and in that process of our show, blogging became instantaneous, where you can blog with somebody in real time. And that really became incredible. So what happened, our show came out, and our show began, and our show was written really well. Really, really well written. And then we would take it in production and elevate that by making it come alive with, you know, the actors and the direction and the production and everything. Woo, my God. Then post-production would get it and take it to the highest level of, you know, special effects, the music. Oh man, the music. Bear McCreary. Incredible. And then they would finish it at a very high level from where it started, and people, the whole, with the editing and everything, and people would just turn around and say, oh, they would be in shock. And so they put it out there. What would happen? They would show, the first year they showed it first in London and in England. They had it on Sky first before anywhere else in the world. Well, what would happen? Kids would grab it right as it was streaming into the, and they would push it out, and it would become like viral, and the whole world could see it, and almost as it was happening, you know. So what happened is that the people would start to blog and talk to each other about the show, and so the writers, who were not dumb, they were smart, they were listening and watching and writing. They had their blogs, and people would lock in because they knew that these were the writers of the show, and the people would start to talk with them, and they would tell them, man, when I saw the show, man, it meant this and this to me, and oh, when this happened, it really meant this, didn't it? And the writers go, yeah, that's exactly right. And it would elevate the writing and the mentality of the people who were writing. So all of a sudden we were getting input, and all of a sudden the shows got more intense and more intense. So needless to say, technology began and really came upon our show in a big way, and it changed the course of history of television. Because now I tweeted all, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., every show I was on, we would sit there and tweet at the same moment the show was being aired. And people would talk to me from all over the place. Hey man, wow, what happened there? Wow, that was weird. You just got yourself stoned. Turned into a rock. Then they blasted the shit out of you. Are you coming back? I don't think so. Jesus Christ. I say, yeah, you're right. I ain't coming back.
Well, we are unfortunately out of time.
Get out of here, we just started.
Oh, I
We had
know.
3 questions. What's wrong with you guys?
But I do want to thank you, Mr. Edward James Olmos.